Hello and welcome to the Supplier Summit 2022. In this talk, we're going to be discussing the nuances of creating and managing a mission-driven RTD product in a crowded, male-dominated space. So who better to speak on this than Amanda Victoria, the founder and CEO of Sipony Spritz Company, a rye-based honeyed cocktail in a can. So this is a recorded interview due to the demands on Amanda's time, but please be sure to leave a comment and questions in the page so that Amanda can answer them later. If you haven't already, please head to who'smyrep.net and set up a free profile to help your buyers find you in your territory. Amanda is an award-winning leader in cocktail spirits and lifestyle communication, education, corporate, environmental, and social impact, and a premium spirits product development and revenues and revenue strategy. I'm reading this straight from your LinkedIn profile, by the way.
That's awesome.
The short list of brands that she's built include Fever Tree, Belvedere Vodka, St. Germain, and all built from a foundation as a bartender at household names that we all understand as PDT and Dutch Kills. In 2019, Amanda launched Sipony Spritz Company, the first in category B Corporation certified canned cocktail as a super premium canned alternative. Made with the best ingredients available. So her work has been featured prominently in the media as an eminent wine and spirits authority, entrepreneur, and environmental and social activist. So Amanda, thank you so much for joining us at the Supplier Summit. We're so happy to have you here.
Great to see you, Jason. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for the intro as well.
Of course. I'm getting.
I'm old. That was really, you could have just put it that way.
Well,
Cool.
I mean, it's not old until you put a number on it. It's been about 20 years. So let's.
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait to that 20-year mark coming up any day now.
All right. So you've run the gamut. Like, you've built macro brands, you've built micro brands, you've done probably more trainings than most of the people that I've ever met.
Yep.
At what point did you want to become the CEO and founder of a company?
Yeah, very great way to kick it off. Absolutely. So I've done, I like that you actually pointed out that I've done big brands and small brands, and a lot of the choices along the way in my career have been guided in rounding out my resume exactly in that way. Every brand that I've ever touched, so to speak, from a professional work environment point of view, or any project I've ever taken on, has been done so with an amount of integrity that I'm looking at in terms of ingredients and the way things are made and who makes them. And that's been going on since the very beginning of my career. The bars that you mentioned that I used to work at, I'd like to think were all based around ingredients in one word, fresh juices, the best spirits in the world, and really asking all the right questions. Who makes this? How do they make it? How is it produced? What are they putting in it? And that's been guided through, that's been the thread that guides my entire career. And then, of course, moving into creating a product of my own and putting something on the shelf myself, with my co-founder, of course, Joey Mintz. It was a guiding light. Again, that one word, I think my tombstone at this point is just going to be ingredients. And that is what matters to me the most. What goes on inside of the products that we love, including the one that I created.
So what's the distribution of labor between you and your partner?
Distribution of labor and the business in general is about 50-50. He did kick me 1% of the business more. So we are a majority female and Latina owned company. But yeah, we are 50-50 on our day-to-day work. He runs all of the operations in the back end, from the supply chain to all of the 3-tier distribution regulations that we go through with distribution in this industry, with me as a guiding light, essentially. So Joey entered the world of spirits with wine and spirits, with Sipony as his first foray into this world. So Sipony for Joey, he entered in 2019 officially into our world that we've been in, since 2005 or so. So
Who's
with me as
counting?
a guiding light, yeah, who's counting? With me as a guiding light, he's been truly the bulldozer behind the scenes, making sure we are doing all the colas, doing vetting all of the people that we work with along the entire supply chain, especially now that we are a B Corp certified company. That is a really big part of our business, making sure that we're working with all of the right people from start to finish. So that's Joey's job during the day. And then I get to do a lot of these great interviews with people like you, and then as well as do all of the education, all of the trainings, as you mentioned. Anytime we're doing a GSM on a Friday with a distributor, that's me, and anybody that I train up to be doing that with me. So a lot of training the trainer and training our sales partners as well, to make sure that they have a very tough job, in my opinion. So I want to always arm them with the best information that they can have to hit the streets, because I know how hard that job is as well.
Okay, I mean, the RTD market is cutthroat and extremely competitive. How do you generate demand for a product like that?
So when we started Sipony, it was 2019 October. We were coming out of that summer that everyone knows what everyone had in their hands, that was in that slim can, the summer of 2019, before the world started to crumble as we know it today in some ways. So summer of 2019, I was 6 months pregnant. I was very frustrated, having spent multi-decades in this business already at that point. The frustration was only amplified by my pregnancy. And I said, everyone is drinking something inside of a can and nobody knows what's going on in that can. They all think that they're drinking a vodka soda. They don't realize that it's malt-based and not spirits-based. So we saw this opportunity to create something better in cans, and thus putting a beautiful spirit inside of a can. And I believe we were the first to put an aged whiskey inside of a can. People thought I was crazy for putting a 4 to 7 year old aged rye whiskey inside of an aluminum can, especially coming out of the world. Just prior to that, I spent a lot of time working in Scotch whiskey, and that's still my go-to drink today outside of Sipony. I'm still a whiskey person. So yeah, the demand that I know, to go back to your question with how it is really cutthroat, and I found myself saying those exact words just yesterday, kind of for the first time. I was like, this is really cutthroat, to get shelf space, from everything from producing to everything we go through with the 3-tier distribution system that is already challenging. It's definitely not innate for somebody that doesn't come from the world of spirits. So explaining that to my partner was a challenge in itself. I'm so glad that he didn't realize how challenging the distribution, the 3-tier system was when we started, because we might not be here today. So yeah. The point of this is that creating those points of differentiation very early on in our quality, and having the best quality liquid that I could personally put my name on inside of a can, and feel very proud to do so, was how we started to differentiate, how we trailblazed through the category by being the first super premium offering with this aged spirit in the can, and how we continue to do so till this day. It was a toolkit that I built very early on to make sure that we taste the best inside the can and are using the best ingredients.
So what is the conversation that you have with your distributor sales reps, and what's the conversation that's happening in their mind?
Yeah. So imagine being in their shoes, right? So they are seeing so many cans all the time, and very much it is a pay to play scenario with cans at this point. You are not just making something and in your kitchen and able to put it in a can through a co-packing facility and able to sign one of the best distributors, the top 3 distributors in the US. And even doing all of that, it's still extremely challenging to get on the shelf. Those shelf spots, especially in the big box stores that we know and love, are very much pay to play scenarios. You have to support your buyers, you have to support your distributors all the way through. So imagine being a salesperson working for one of these big distributors and having all of these different can products in your toolkit. How do you differentiate when you are explaining your product to your buyers? The biggest point of differentiation across not only cans, but back when vodka went through this and back when whiskey went through this and still is going through it, is telling the story of how things are made and what goes into that process and the production of it. Education has always been at the forefront of everything that I've chosen to work on in this business, including Sipony. So having a story that is different than the rest, being able to talk about why is Sipony the first and still currently only B Corp certified canned cocktail? What does that really mean? That means we went through a 2-year auditing process to make sure that everything we do behind the scenes is up to snuff as according to the B Corp organization, which, by the way, is companies we sit next to now are like Patagonia and Tom's and these big brand companies that are in different industries. What does that mean to be B Corp? That means that we have a story to tell when it comes to our ethos and our guiding principles and how we treat our people, the people that work with us and our partners, and then also our ingredients and everything that we do, everything we stand for. A story. So as a salesperson on the street, I empathize very much with that job. Like I mentioned before, it's really difficult. That's a very difficult job. I find that if you're a great storyteller and you really believe in the products that you are introducing to your buyers and you really know them, obviously it's going to be a more effective sale.
Okay, so you're, I mean, Sipony, I'm guessing out of necessity is at top of market. I mean, with a 4 to 7 year old rye, honey is probably not very cheap, and you know, and it's difficult to, you know, it's probably increasingly difficult to come by.
Yep.
So what happens when the story doesn't resonate, when people don't buy based on their values?
Buy based on values? Well, then that's again in my toolkit that we designed very early on. Cracking a can and liquid to lips is number one, always the best thing. Oftentimes you might not even have a chance to tell a story. So when I do a tasting, I still do a lot of our in-store tastings, because I love doing it. That's where I came from. It's very grassroots or whatever. But B, I get to learn who the customer actually is in real time in a way that helps us guide production and the product and creating the product, because at the end of the day, we're not making this, you know, for ourselves. We're making this for customers, for them to love what we're doing and love the way it tastes and fit into their lifestyle, right? So doing those tastings, those in-store tastings that we do, specifically at like a lot of the Total Wine stores at this point, the liquid speaks for itself. And I wanted to make a product in which the liquid would speak for itself, especially in the world of RTDs. So if I'm not around to tell a story, or if someone doesn't really resonate with the story or doesn't know the story, crack a can. Hopefully it's cold, but even if it's not cold, it's still going to be as fantastic, as delicious as I set out for it to be. Something, again, that I put my name on. I literally signed the back of the can now for something I'm very proud of, the liquid, the way it tastes. So liquid to lips, if I'm not around, if someone that doesn't know the brand is not around, if you're just going to encounter a can in the wild and you're willing to crack it and give it a taste, it's going to be, in my opinion, the best tasting can on the market.
Can you tell me about the process of coming to market? Like, did you have distribution first, or were you cold calling, or how did that work?
So we launched in 2020 in June, June 15th. We were 15 days late despite the pandemic and everything that was going on in the world. We still managed to launch the product. And I like to say nearly nationwide because of our DTC partners. That was the main focus of our business for the first year. And it still remains a focus today. But because the world was closed in June 2020, we launched online, and people were very receptive to getting delicious cocktails delivered to their doorstep nearly nationwide. So that was a big focus. I called it the 70-30 plan at the time. So 70% of our focus was on DTC, getting to learn our customers in the digital world, understanding that this was a weird moment in time for sales, but in some ways that weird moment in time did help Sipony, if I'm honest. It helped us, although a lot of bad came out of the pandemic and a lot of separation. But in some ways, if you remember, we were more connected than ever before on the internet. So being able to offer a product right out the door, nationwide, DTC, 70% of our focus went into advertisements and pull through and awareness through the DTC, through our entire digital funnel. So across social media, across all of our emails, and of course the pull through our shopsipony.com that is still very much active today. 30% was through our distribution partners, or our compliance partners, as I call them, MHW. So working with MHW in New York City, specifically, the cocktail was born in New York, but ready for the world. We used all New York suppliers for the supply chain. So it was important to grow the brand in our backyard as much as we could. It was basically me and my partner with our face masks on and a stroller pushing door to door in New York City during a pandemic, selling the first cans of Sipony to our independent retail partners, which today are still repeat purchases and some of our strongest lighthouse accounts in the city. Because of those relationships we made with the face masks and the baby stroller and the product, and really like hitting the pavement. Yeah, so today the focus is not quite 70-30%. It's more, a little bit more flipped, because we are with Breakthrough Beverage Group now at this point in some of the bigger markets like Florida, et cetera. So supporting our sales team is very much top priority to me, and making sure that I'm always present at every GSM I can be at to train and make sure that they're armed with all of the information, whether that's our one sheet, sales sheet, et cetera, the story, and hoping, again, even if they've missed that GSM or they didn't get the attachment of the one sheet, that maybe they're intrigued by the can a little bit and will crack it, and the liquid itself should speak for itself. So.
Okay, so starting off D2C, especially with e-commerce, were you able to drive a specific customer avatar, like somebody that you were able to focus on quite specifically? It seems to me that a lot of brands say, "Here's my brand, here's my story, you're welcome," without any specific targeting. But if you're spending money on advertising, especially digital advertising, then you can get extremely granular on who you're targeting. So tell me about your avatar.
Yes, it's funny because we spent so many months, if not years, trying to build who that avatar is with real data in real time, because we were able to see who our customers were and then retarget our focus on the map of the US, that we were able to play in certain markets and put more advertising dollars behind those markets. And after the research that is still ongoing till this day, we have found that our avatar, so to speak, or our customer, is someone that is very much like both me and my co-founder. We care about what goes into products. So we kind of playfully call them the label readers, people that read labels, people that walk around grocery stores like Whole Foods and flip things and are like, oh, this is this. People who have more of a holistic wellness appreciation. We stay away, obviously, from saying any alcohol is healthy, because that is not the case at all. But if you choose to imbibe, you're going to want to choose to drink the very best quality. If you're not going to drink every day, and don't recommend that, when you do decide to drink, choosing something that is a little bit more premium, the best of the best that you can find. So the people that appreciate ingredients in our age range, we did aim to be not the very most expensive canned cocktail on the shelf, maybe the second or third most. We are $19.99 for a 4-pack every day, all day long. We do see it being sold repetitively in some markets for a lot higher than that, and good on them for being able to do that. But our MSRP, as the manufacturer, we recommend $5 per cocktail per can. To go back to the bars that we used to work at, when we were making cocktails similar to this, they were being charged, $16 and up back in the day, and still till this day. So in my opinion, Sipony is an attainable luxury, and the customer that is drinking Sipony is someone who appreciates ingredients, and it's luxury for a reason because of what is going on in the can. Just one word on what's going on inside is just no fillers, nothing synthetic, no GMO whiskey, no weird aftertastes, no weird headache that you sometimes get when a lot of the canned products out there do have a lot of preservatives, a lot of sugar, and yeah, it gives the whole category kind of a bad rap for being a lesser quality option than making a fresh cocktail yourself. And we wanted to take that challenge and make something a little bit higher quality. So if you appreciate that, that's who our customer is.
So in your consumer's mind, are they lumping in Sipony with White Claw? Like, do they see these as the same thing? Because White Claw is like, they have like 90+% of the market, and everybody's fighting over that remaining couple points. What are they thinking when they see it on the shelf?
So that is a good point. White Claw today does not actually have that much of the market anymore, which is exciting times for products like Sipony and for spirit-based products. Maybe just over a year ago, that was definitely the case. I think the marketplace is now, there's a pretty delineated split of spirits-based and malt-based. We've seen the consumer, our customer, understand now that, hey, why was I getting that weird headache when I drank that? Oh, it's malt based, and it's like a lesser quality malt. What is malt versus spirit? And understanding the different, just kind of going back to distillation 101 and learning that, hey, this doesn't make me feel weird the next day. And again, no offense to those products at all. I'm glad they exist because they created a runway for us to grow within what we can do within the vehicle of the slim can. But to your point, the market share and how we're able to do that, customers are waking up to wanting spirits-based quality cocktails in cans. It was something we anticipated. It's exactly what we built this on, was the anticipation of that. And yeah, we are stealing back market share at this point. I can name a few brands, but I won't.
Word. So I mean, what's your vision? I mean, just getting to market and staying in market for 2.5 years now,
yeah,
is incredible.
Yeah.
So what's your vision for the company? Where do you want to take it?
My vision for the company has not changed since we created the company, and it remains strong as changing the way the world drinks with ingredients and cause, that environmental cause being a big factor. But again, that's just part of the story. What we see long term is creating more points of distribution for Sipony, making sure that we're meeting our customers where they're already shopping, getting on those shelves, understanding that where we are currently is at the apex of as much as 2 founder individuals could probably get us to, without much funding at all, without a team at all, never anyone full-time on the brand that has been outside of me and my co-founder. So points of distribution and market share, that is what we're doing all day long, and understanding that those 2 goals are very much pay to play, and that we do need to have solid funding behind us in order to survive at this point. So kind of looking at phase one as bringing a now proven concept to the market. People love the product. It's a beloved product. We've seen the repeat purchases. We've seen the pull through. We've seen our customers become ambassadors of the brand, which is very exciting. People love the brand. They love the people that drink Sipony do love Sipony, and it's very rewarding to have brought a product to market that is beloved like that. Now we're into a phase two of market share, points of distribution, expanding that footprint, and understanding that we need solid funding behind that because it is pay to play. So you can bring a beautiful product to the market and people can love it, and you can still fail if you don't have the funding behind you in order to get to your customer. So right now we are fighting to get to our customer.
And you're in the middle of a raise right now, right?
Yes, we are in the middle of our seed raise right now, which I'm hoping to close this fall, if not late September. Yes.
How much are you looking for, and what are you going to do with it?
So we are looking for about 5 million right now. We are 1 million raised to date. We are looking to do 2/3 of that to advertising and promotion and building brand awareness through tastings. That is all of my secret sauce, if anyone wants to take notes. So again, just getting to our customer through tastings, liquid to lips. It's really as basic as that. I believe that when you have a product with a strong story, with strong liquid, that is as basic as that. It's not reinventing the wheel. I've done that with products before. It's worked, and this is what we want to repeat now. And then 1/3 of that funding to inventory to make sure we actually have enough product to meet the demand of our awareness strategy.
And how many states are you in again?
Nearly nationwide through DTC, and about 14 in a traditional sense, with Breakthrough being our lead distributor.
And it's a traditional liquor go-to-market strategy, like production, distributor, and then retailer.
Yeah. Yep. The focus on the outlet specifically is predominantly independent on-premise and big box stores, chains.
I can only imagine what the compliance that Joey has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, because it changes, right? And is it considered a liquor product? Is it considered a spirits product nationwide?
Yeah. So that was a big point of a lot of gray area when you're entering the market with a spirits-based can. A lot of different little nuances of what your label can and cannot say per market. We have organizations like Discus doing big work for us, which is major shout out to Discus and everything they do in making sure that we can be as rewarded in distribution as some of our malt-based can brothers are. And then big shout out to, of course, MHW for doing a big amount of that compliance for us. And yeah, absolutely, Joey's day to day is opening up a lot of new stuff, a lot of new markets, but we do have the support of MHW to keep us compliant along the way.
Okay. Well, I mean, if I had $4 million, I would definitely write you a check right now.
So much. Thank you. I'll
just don't cash it until next Friday, please.
Okay. Yeah. I'll look out for my mailbox. If anyone wants to send anything, let us know. It's a very hard fundraising environment right now. I'd like to just give a little note for anyone who's starting a brand or looking to start a brand or is in the early days of starting a brand. The only thing that is going to keep us afloat right now is perseverance through a very hard fundraising and very saturated market, especially in like the big categories like tequila and RTDs and even American whiskey at this point. So I'm telling myself every day, perseverance, persistence, just staying afloat and trying to keep the brand ethos, our story, our liquid best in class to make sure that we are there as a legacy brand when this storm is over.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This has been Amanda Victoria, the CEO and co-founder of Sipony Spirits Company. And I'm just so grateful to get in contact with you again. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, Jason, very much. I really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, it is info@sipony.com, sipony.com, shopsipony.com, and Amanda Victoria OG on all social media.
OG. That's right. All right. Thanks again, Amanda.
Bye.